So I'm just getting out here to a site we do maintenance at, mostly package units. I think there's some Mitsubishi ductless units too. But this one kind of stood out right here to me right off the get-go. Obviously it's iced up pretty good. It's a heat pump with backup electric heat. Got over here, I could see everything was running. I mean, it's still heating with the heat pump. I know I've gone over in the past on these Yorks that have had some issues with sensors, and I'm out in the Pacific Northwest. It's a lot wetter out here. And with that being said, some of these sensors, when they get wet on the connections, won't read right, but they also just tend to fail as well. The metal clamp that actually holds the sensor on, so this is my condensing coil sensor that's sensing for my defrost. The little metal clip that's on those from the factory, they actually send you new ones now. At least the guy we've dealt with has sent us new ones. But it'll actually pinch that bulb and make it go bad. And right here is just my outdoor ambient temperature. But I can see this thing's covered in ice and all that, and I mean, it should be sensing a nice cold temperature. So what I did is first kind of looked at this. As you can see too, these connections right here are easily can get wet. I mean, if just water is dripping in here, I mean, just when this ice is melting, when it goes in defrost, any of that kind of stuff can create moisture. So with the new sensors we get, they actually have a lot longer leads. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll bring this connection back over here in the blower compartment. That way it's just completely out of the elements. So if I do end up finding the sensor's bad, which I'm pretty sure it will be a bad sensor, because I've ran into this quite a few times on different sites, we'll be moving that new lead into here so it's completely protected and not in the weather or elements at all, just to keep that out altogether. Because I've come out where the sensor will read bad, and then once everything dries out and you come back a different day and everything's dried out, it's reading good. So I've seen a lot of that kind of stuff. So that'll just kind of rule out all of those scenarios. Also getting the new metal clip that we get with these sensors that doesn't pinch the little bulbs in there is bad. Will be another nice repair for this particular one. So that's kind of everything with the sensor here. But when I went to the board, I started seeing a lot of faults reading out on this. Should start doing it here. So you can see the little red LED up here is like reading, it's red. So it just starts reading a whole bunch of these different ones. I think I've talked about this in a video in the past too. What can happen on these is these boards, sometimes if they need to be updated, they can start reading all these things like humidity sensors. A lot of these things it's listing right now aren't even in this particular unit. The nice thing is it doesn't really affect the way it's running, but it is just kind of annoying to have a bunch of this outdoor air humidity. All these different ones are not even in this thing. So I mean, it's kind of annoying when you come out seeing all these fault codes reading across, but actually none of them really pertain to you. That one actually is reading the condenser coil temp sensor failure, so that one actually is reading that it's failed, so I do think that one is right. And then mixed air temp sensor, I mean, so some of these things are in here, some of them aren't, but what we've come to find out after talking to tech support a lot on this particular scenario is that these boards basically just need updated. So a lot of times you can download on like a little USB the new updates, and there's a way you can go through here to update, and you can plug in your USB like right here. There's a little plug, and then it's really easy to update them. But we've had to do that on different sites over the years. So I mean, that might be the case here, that it might need either updated, or it could be the board itself is starting to get a little wacky. I'm just gonna kind of scroll through here. So I'm gonna go down to details, I'm gonna hit enter, and then I'm gonna go down to service and hit enter, and then my inputs, I'm gonna hit enter, and then right there it's saying sensors, and then it says coil sensor. So I want to see if that sensor is reading anything right now. So I'm going to hit enter, and then it's your evaporator and your condenser coil sensors. So my evaporator will hit that. So that's reading 101 right now, which is probably about right, I would guess, since it's in a call for heat. And then I'm going to hit cancel to get back, basically. And now I'm going to go down to the condenser coil, which is that one over here that's covered in ice right now. So I should be getting a nice low reading on that. I'm going to hit enter, and it's showing out of range high. So I am going to plan on writing up this sensor, and like I said, these new sensors we've been getting have a much longer leads. I think they're built different and everything, different metal mounting clip, everything about it. So I'm going to write it up to do that, and then move that connection in the blower compartment here, and I think that'll help eliminate a lot of these issues I'm running into on this one. But I'm going to hit cancel here and get back. I'm just going to check some of these other sensors here. So I'm going to hit enter, and then let's see here, that one's not on there. So some of these are not even in here. So that's the return air humidity, the outside air temp, that's 32.1, and that's this little sensor right here, which is pretty much right. I mean, that's about right, exactly what the temperature is today. So that outside air temperature one looks good. Let's see here, outdoor humidity, there should be nothing on there. It says out of range, so I don't think we have anything hooked up to that. Let's see, return air temp is 68.8, that's probably about right. Supply air temp 98.6, that looks good. So yeah, I just kind of want to go through the sensors here. So I mean, that's just a way you can kind of log into this to check your sensors when things are acting kind of funky. So what I'm probably going to write this up for is, like I said, the sensor, the condenser coil sensor and then also I'm probably going to write it up to update the update for this, whatever version we need to be on. So a lot of times what you can do is call up like your York tech support in your area, and they can email you the update, and you just copy it onto a little flash drive, and you can off your computer and then plug it right into that, and you're good to go for updating it. I would assume if you put a new board in, those would also have the new updates as well, because it'd be a newer board that's probably all updated. So I mean, I guess technically that would be a route to go, but I'm going to try to do the update first because it's going to be a lot more cost effective. But yeah, that's just what I'm running into. It's kind of a simple, just defrost sensor. Like I said, I know on these Yorks we've ran into it a lot out here in the Pacific Northwest on our heat pumps, just these condenser coil sensors. And I've actually ran into the outdoor ambient sensor being bad too, but that could come down to these connections I talked about as well on the outdoor ambient, just getting wet and giving me funky readings. So yeah, that is pretty much everything on this one. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I really appreciate you guys watching, and see you next time.